So the front yard, you know, as much food as there is in the front yard, the backyard is where we get into serious food production. Let's go and have a look. So it's looking a bit more wild. One thing that stands out is the lawn, and we don't usually put lawn in, but that it needs a bit of attention. It's growing out onto the path, so it does need to be kept in check. So we've got a grate that's really going well. It's growing up. It's going to be trained underneath the pergola under the perspex to provide summer shade. That's going good. A flower bed here. Some of these flowers have kind of done their dash, about to slow down for winter. But here's the raised beds. Check this out. Still a bit bigger than my head. We got eggplants coming on. Still plenty of tomatoes. Lot of salad greens. A whole lot of pumpkins happening over here. And you know, you just look at this. Look down here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 big pumpkins. We've got a huge pumpkin up on the fence here. And when these come out, the berry patch that they're kind of covering will be revealed. The greenhouse here has had a crop of corn, and we've got beans that grew underneath the corn, so lots of beans coming out. So plenty of veggie production. Come and have a look at the orchard. So it's a fully enclosed orchard. Here's a chook house. Chickens are just starting to lay, which is exciting, getting some eggs. And we've got about 20 or so, 25 fruit trees in this area. This is an almond that's doing really well. And there's some really nice integrations, some really nice connections being made in this area. Here we've got a water tank. Excuse all the ladders, but the water tank overflows into the duck pond. The ducks walk up an earth ramp and poo in the pond, play in there, and then when you pull the plug here, so if you look downhill, you can see where the water bubbles up out of the ground through a pipe. So that nutrified water spreads out through the orchard and soaks in to give the fruit trees a water and nutrient smoothie, I guess you could call it. And to maximise the productivity of this area, and to get as much production inside the enclosure as possible, we've got the ducks here. They might give us a demo of how they use the pond. Let's stand back. Come on. Come on, duckies. Ah, they're off again.
Not good.
One thing we've done to maximise production, and also we use an approach called backyard orchard culture, and it says that you don't want to just shrink what a large-scale commercial fruit orchard does, because you don't want large trees. What you want is a variety of smaller trees that are easier to manage and easier to pick from. And one way of achieving that is to plant more than one tree in a single hole. Some people think this is crazy, but here's an example. We've got 4 different trunks. We've got 3 peaches and a nectarine in the same hole. They're about 20 centimetres apart from each other, and you can see from a distance it looks like a single tree. So we're actually basically growing 4 trees and training each one to be the shape of a quarter of a tree. And the beauty of this is that it's much easier to balance the different varieties than it is with a multi-graft, where one's always trying to dominate. They also naturally stunt each other, so it's easier to keep them small. And in this case, we'll keep them to 2 metres. So they're easy to pick, and you get a small number of a lot of different kinds of fruits spread throughout the season, which of course is what a household wants. So walking along here, every 3 metres we've got a double planted nectarine, double planted cherry over here. It's had a bit of cherry slug, so it's doing okay, but that's just been picked off manually. You know, different times of the year, different plants, you know, they look better and they look worse. The overall health of the tree is good. Hello to an Australa. Beautiful chicken. We've got a couple of double planted persimmons here. Down the bottom here in one of the wetter spots is our apple area. So we've got a triple planted apple and a double planted apple. Some Jerusalem artichokes here. Push past those. And there's an existing peach here and then a double planted peach next to it. The existing peach is a bit sick, so that'll go eventually once these guys get up to size. Looking beautiful. And a double planted plum. And part of that backyard orcharding culture approach I was talking about is you do a late summer and a late spring prune as well as a winter prune. So you do your pruning regime is 3 times a year, and that's part of the way that you basically teach the trees you want them to stay small and rather than letting them get big and hard to manage. So we're actually going to do a prune tonight. We have late summer prune. And down the bottom we've got a couple of pears in the most wet spot, because all that overflowing duck water and rainwater from the tank, that ends up kind of dropping its way down through this path below us, which is terraced, and it ultimately puddles at the bottom here. And pear, among all fruit trees, pears will tolerate moisture more than anything else, so they're right at the bottom. One of them's looking great. The other one's, it looks like it's been stressed for whatever reason, and it's had a bit of cherry or pear slug as well. But you can see there's fresh buds coming up, so I imagine that'll be fine in next spring. Of course, these trees will be shortly losing their leaves. Let's come back out onto the lawn, and we'll have a look at the ornamental ponds, which is just looking beautiful. So this is a pond we put in that's, I guess, in large part ornamental. The water will attract frogs and lizards and beneficial birds and so on. We've actually got some of this buffalo grasses invading the pond, and putting roots down into the pond, so that needs a little bit of attention, and that can go through to the chickens. But you know, there's a variety of, the water's really clear, there's a variety of different of plants in the mix. There's a little fountain at the back, I might try turning that on. A bit of tansy was planted behind the pond, and that kind of goes through an annual cycle, so we might harvest that shortly, and that can go to the chooks too. And just really, you can see the bees and the bugs that are hovering around the water. There's a lot of pond life in the water. It's hard to capture in words all the benefits that a pond like this brings to an edible garden. That's probably about it for now. So you can see, you know, we spend a lot of time getting the hardware and the posts and fences and the pergola and the paving, etc., the greenhouse and sheds and water tanks. But it's the biology, it's the plants and the animals that really bring the place to life and give it a much softer forest-like feel. And already they're producing a lot of food, but year on year the amount of food coming out of this garden is going to be relatively staggering. And the amount of work is not huge, because we've got so many integrations, so many connections. Yeah, oh well, we'll leave it there.